quality is horrible, but I'm in the car. I'm really, really hoping that Across the Spider-Verse is good. But I'm like really, really hyped. I'm about to see it. Oh my god, I'm so excited, dude. I'm leaving I'm leaving 7 minutes early because, oh my goodness, the praise for this movie. I'm trying to manage my expectations, and I'm really hoping that this movie exceeds them because they're so high. And this movie, oh my goodness, please be good. I know everyone says it's good, but I don't know. I feel like when people overhype things, I tend to get disappointed. Here, I'm just really hoping it's good. Just please, come on, man.
Hours later.
I understand the meaning of life and all of its issues, but all of the greatness within. I understand the meaning of loss and the meaning of happiness, because it goes all around with you. Happiness always does.
Sorry I couldn't do an out-of-theater reaction for this movie. I was a bit tied up, and I was very busy. Also, my parents wouldn't let me use their phone since it was like 10:45 or something, because the screening was at 8. I mean, it's technically not a screening, but it's a screening for me because I think it's the first time I've seen a movie in a theater, first time it comes out.
Oh, good for you!
Yeah, Across the Spider-Verse came out. I still am struggling to believe this movie exists, but it does, so let's talk about it. Oh yeah, but first I got these sick posters, man, you can't see them, but this right here. I mean, look at this. Isn't it cool? I got 2 of them actually. They're just so cool. I have to show you some B-roll of it. Just hold on a sec. I'm just losing my mind. So yeah, that was pretty neat, but let's talk some Across the Spider-Verse because, oh my god, I'm speechless. Is it in a good way? Well, you'll see. Miles Morales catapults across the multiverse where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. When their heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles must redefine what it means to be a hero. And oh my god, that journey, well, it was... Yeah, this is written by Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and David Callahan. So it has incredible writers. They're known for making movies like this, and when you watch it, you'll know that it's them, even if you didn't know that before you watched it, because it's just, you know, it's so good. It's just that they have such a different style of writing than a lot of other writers. And this movie also stars Shameik Moore, who now I associate with these characters. In Haley Steinfeld and, Oscar Isaac, I just associate these people with their characters in this movie nowadays because, oh my goodness, they're just, it's incredible performances. I thought Moon Knight was incredibly underrated. It's one of my most underrated shows ever, but then Oscar Isaac, he gives an incredible performance in this, maybe as good as the other one, but first I have to get this intro out of the way. It's rated PG for sequences of animated action, violence, some language, and thematic elements, and when I say that this is a darker PG movie, you should believe me, because there are really dark themes, concepts, and sequences in this movie, and I don't know I feel like there's gonna be some parents that walk out and they're like, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have showed my 3-year-old to this movie. And if you didn't know, Into the Spider-Verse is one of my favorite animated movies ever. It might just be my favorite Spider-Man movie ever, and it's definitely one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. So I was just so excited going in, but I was really trying to manage my expectations. I just really didn't want it. I didn't want to be disappointed, and guess what? I was disappointed. No, just kidding. Screw that, man. I did not need to manage my expectations because my expectations were so high in this movie, exceeded them. I'm not joking with anything I'm saying in this movie. I am being 100% honest. I'm being as honest as possible in this review. I promise. This movie exceeded my expectations. It's exceeding a lot of people's expectations for a good reason, because this movie, I don't know if I can call it a masterpiece just on the first watch, but after I keep on talking about this movie, I think I might be able to. Miles and Gwen, first of all, are incredible characters. Their chemistry is so good in this movie, and the back and forth, their dialogue, just everything with the performances, the characters, just everything incredible. And this is just as much of a Miles story as it is a Gwen story, because it's a cold, I don't know if I can say a cold open, but it's very, very, it just starts with Gwen, and you're just following her life. And Miles doesn't come in until, well, a good chunk of the beginning of this movie is over. You basically spend a lot of time with Gwen. But I personally did not mind that at all, because I thought Gwen was just such an interesting character. She was better in this movie than she was in the last movie, and she was great in Into the Spider-Verse. But here, they flesh out her character even more and give pretty much each character even a different backstory, especially Gwen, because, there's some heartbreak in the beginning of this movie. But, yeah, I really enjoyed what they did with those characters, and I thought it worked really well for the story. And the supporting characters, besides Miles and Gwen, there's so many new people, spider people that come in that are so much fun. Shameik Moore obviously plays Miles Morales, and he's great. Haley Steinfeld is great. Oscar Isaac is great in this movie, and he's just a great villain. When the plot starts to, I'll say, unravel, and that sounds bad, but it's actually a good thing, because it's the plot that is unraveling, and you'll just associate his character with that, because Oscar Isaac voices this character to perfection, honestly, and the animation is stunning. We're gonna get to that later, but just Oscar Isaac's performance is just really, really great, and one of the better villainous characters in this movie as a whole, because I guess he's pretty much the main villain, I guess. Oh yeah, and Peter B. Parker comes back, but it's a bit of a different character. Still the same old Peter B. Parker, but he is basically taking Miles' advice for him, and he has a baby now, and he is living a life that Miles was sort of persuading him to live, and he has that character arc in the first movie, which I absolutely loved, and it tied into this movie like a piece of cake. It was so good. Issa Rae plays Spider-Woman. That was great. As soon as you hear some of these voices, you'll immediately know who they are. You have Brian Tyree Henry as Jefferson, and the same old people. You have other people in this movie that you've seen from the first movie, but then there's more characters that are new in this movie. Karan Soni plays Spider-Man India, and Daniel Kaluuya plays Hobie, and Hobie is such a funny character. My God, when the animation will get to him, it's just, oh my God. But whenever Gwen is talking about him, you have to buckle up, because those are some funny scenes, and the theater was just laughing out loud like crazy. It was so funny, and definitely some of the funniest sequences in this movie Hobie is involved in, and that was great. I'm just gonna try to talk about my really, really, really slight nitpick. I'm just really trying to dig deep for nitpicks in this movie, but I'm just trying to be a good critic.
Oh, good for you!
But let's just talk about the cliffhanger. I'm not gonna spoil what the cliffhanger is, obviously, but it is a part one, and this movie feels like a part one, and it is a part one, and it feels like a part one. Anyway, I really, really enjoyed the cliffhanger. And I know not everyone didn't, and they sort of felt incomplete, but I loved where they ended it. I thought it felt just great for this movie, and it was so cool, the vibe that they created at the end with the soundtrack, everything mixed with the visuals, mixed with everything going on. It was incredible, and I loved that. I would say my one very small nitpick is that there is a lot going on in this movie, and I think people could get lost. And I don't know if people are gonna be so confused like in this movie. It's definitely not like Usual Suspects, but it's still really, really, really. It's really fast paced, and it doesn't wait for the audience to catch up. It's really fast, but I personally really enjoyed that. I thought it was freaking great because it didn't feel like a childish movie. It felt more like a way of telling stories is from animation, and the way they did that in this movie was freaking amazing. And just what they did with the pacing, I loved it because it didn't feel like it was like, oh, come on, you need to catch up. It was going by itself, it was going fast, and it was going well.
Oh, good for you!
But yeah, I think that's one of the nitpicks that other people could have for this movie is that there is a lot going on, and it does maybe feel a bit jumbled to some people, but not to me. I thought it felt great. I thought it felt so perfect, and it fit the movie well, and I thought it was really good, like I said. Aside from that, maybe there are one or two sequences where maybe the action isn't as heavy, but like the first 25 minutes are, like I said, they're slower, and there's not a lot happening. And I think people, another criticism that people could have is that this movie is not action heavy. It's really low on action. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, that's true, but I loved that because of the way they handled the slower moments, because I thought that was just great. They were just great moments in this movie. Pretty much every moment was great. Or some of the greatest Spider-Man sequences ever. And now we're gonna get to the absolute best part of this movie. That is the visuals and the fact that it changed the genre. This movie is a literal comic book. I know people said the same for the first movie, but no. That is nothing compared to this in terms of the comic book vibe. It's literally a comic book. You see, there's a character that is over here, and he's or over here for you, and he's over here, and he's just zoomed out, and then there's a panel. There's a line in the middle, and then there's a close-up of another character that, and then it just, when that character walks past, the line just goes away, and then when they just enter the same panel, it's so cool. And there's a scene where Miles is running through the rain, and the visuals, oh my goodness, I've never seen anything like it in an animated movie or in a comic book movie. It was truly incredible. It was groundbreaking, and it's some of the greatest stuff I've ever seen. And there is so much of that sprinkled throughout this movie. And the way they integrate panels and just everything that you see in a comic book, you see these little graphics of what's actually happening. There's like a bark from the dog, and then there's zip and re-zip. You saw that in the trailer. But, there's so many things like that. And I thought it was incredible. And I feel like this movie now is basically saying that animation could be a way of telling stories. It's a way of making a movie and basically letting the audience know something about that movie and letting the audience know some stuff of what's happening. You see the emotions that the characters are feeling are reflecting on them from the visuals. It is so cool. And when the characters' emotions change, you see the background, just the change in the light and the change of the color on their face. And it is incredible. It's mind-blowing how they are just so incredible at utilizing animation to do something beyond exceptional. And that was incredible. I just could not believe that I was watching that on an IMAX theater and like 3 seats away from the actual screen. And oh my goodness, it was truly one of the most memorable experiences of my entire life. And I have a small bladder, and I don't think there are many movies where you can't go to the bathroom at any time. I was struggling to find a point to go to the bathroom. I was really looking for a point where like, okay, probably this is gonna be slow, and then I go, no. I could not find anything. I was able to stand that because the movie distracted me, and that's one of the things that actually makes this movie even better for me, because I got distracted by how good it was that I forgot I even had to go to the bathroom. It was so crazy. Oh my god. Wow. This movie also explores some dark themes. Like I said when I told you it's a darker PG movie, but the themes in this movie are so relatable. It's so heartbreaking, some of these, but then they're also heart-wrenching, heartwarming, and it's so happy. You feel so happy, but then you also feel so sad. And one of the main themes in this movie that explores, which I love because I relate to it, is the feeling that you do not belong. You see Miles go into that, society, the spider society thing, and he feels that like everyone, he wasn't, he doesn't have a place in this world. And you see Spider-Man 2099 saying like, the spider was not supposed to bite you, you were never supposed to be Spider-Man, and you just feel like so left out for Miles, and it's just like he feels like a mistake in this world. And that was one of the things that explores, and it did such a good job, and it made me feel so many things because I have related to that at some point in my life. And oh my goodness, they did it perfectly, flawless. All right, I'm rambling at this point. Let's give this movie a score. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is stunning. This is truly like a comic book movie because it's literally what the movie is, combining beautiful animation that is groundbreaking with an incredible art and story. This movie is an absolute triumph. Both Spider-Man movies, in my opinion, are lit. I really have to decide which one I like more. But they're two of the greatest comic book movies of all time. So is this one because, oh my god, this experience, I'm over the moon. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to watch this again. And I really am interested to see how it plays out on rewatch, because that determines everything. But I'm rambling at this point. I'm gonna go hang up those posters. I don't want to end the video, but I have to because I haven't even eaten breakfast yet. But fine, I'll do it.